I didn't see the minutes from last week in my pack.
No, we didn't get them.
Oh, you said
Yeah, I got them. Yeah.
email.
Yeah.
And then I redid the agenda, but I don't think she put it on the website yet. I haven't received.
Yeah.
Well, here comes the rest of the crew.
Fill the room up today.
Yeah.
So,
Yep, just turned.
Yeah. Get your recorder. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, folks, seeing that it's 9 a.m. here, we'll call the Codington County Board of Commissioners meeting to order here on Tuesday, July 14th, 2026. And we'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance, and we'll have Randy lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Call for any public comments and let the public know they can be submitted in person or via telephone at 605-882-6248 or 605-882-6297. Commissioners, is there any conflict of interest?
No.
No.
Okay. Action to approve the July 20 or 14th agenda, and I'd just like to mention number 14. We are going to postpone till a later date. We have some more information on that. So we won't do number 14.
So moved.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Gable and second by Johnson. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Action to approve the July 7th, 2026 minutes of the board meeting.
So move.
Second
Motion by Johnson, second by Schwer. Any other discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Update on jail construction from Mr. Tyler Clott from Tegra Group.
Good morning, Commissioners. Appreciate the time this morning just to give you a quick update on how the project's progressing so far. The handout you all have, I understand, is very high level. Just wanted to give a snapshot of where everything's at. So starting with the schedule, you can see in the middle of the page there is a sketch of what the building maps out to, what we refer to as areas. A is at the top north, area B to the left or the west, southwest part of the building, and then area C, which is the sheriff's office on the east portion of the building. Area A is the last area right now waiting to get its precast and steel installed. That is ongoing right now, and I believe should be wrapping up within this week or next week, actually, if it's not already. The area B has been fully exterior finished. Right now they're working on all the plumbing and duct work, which is already roughed in, but now they're running cables and are running piping and duct work throughout that area. And then area C, and we'll see some pictures of this as well. That one's in about the same place as area B is. They're finishing the roofing on that, or have finished the roofing on that and working on sort of the rough ends of the mechanical systems. You all know this better than I do, and I've heard from my family up there that the weather has been a significant variable this summer and this past winter. Part of the project is they track weather delays, which are days where they aren't able to actually get any work done. These are built into their project, but they're at about 34 days of weather delay days. Substantial completion, I'm not going to tell you a day of the week that it's going to be done, and I don't think Beckenhauer would tell you that either. Right now, what it looks like though is late summer of 2027. Um, Obviously with those weather days, it's pushed back a little bit, but we're still looking relatively on time as it goes with the weather. Um, from a budget standpoint, everything is tracking exactly as we expected it to. As a reminder, the guaranteed maximum price was at $32.6 million to date, which is really through May of 2026. We should be getting what June spend was here relatively soon. Though through May spend was to $10.3 million, so we're at 32% complete in terms of billing. Construction contingency, which is part of the total GMP, is at 32% used as well, which that's a number that there's no true good way to say it should be spent, this amount should be spent per month. But if you look at it as a straight line forecast, and that's essentially how it's mapped out so far in this project, once the building is fully enclosed, that's when a lot of the risk goes away. That's when those risks are where you see a lot of that construction contingency used. Though once we get that fully enclosed facility, that spend rate should taper off a little bit. Owner contingency, which is another number that's in the total project budget, is 7% used through May of 2026, which is really positive for the project overall because this is a bucket of money that we will be able to use for additional furnitures, fixtures, and equipment. We've got budget line items for those things like IT items, TVs, furniture, signage as examples. But as we move through the project, there's opportunities to use some of that money for other operational uses to make sure that the county gets the building and the operations that they really want. So we'll continue to track that, but that's in a very, very positive position at this point of the project, with roughly 12 months to go. As it goes with milestones, one of the big ones that we'll have more information for the county in the next few weeks, I would think, is a topping out ceremony, which is placing the final structural steel beams. That is tentatively scheduled for August 20th. I imagine there may be some interest from having the county the commissioners attend that as a public ceremony. And then, as I mentioned, that fully enclosed milestone that we're looking at is tentative for mid-August of this year. So we're about a month away from being a fully enclosed facility. Down in the photos, we've got, I'm going to start on my top left, which I think should be your top left too. The image with the mechanical yard is what you're seeing there. So that's on the north side of the building, tucked behind so no one can see it. The next one to the right is standing from Highway 212, looking north, which is that's the jail side. That's over by the juvenile area. The Sally ports can't quite see it, but it's back behind that corner. The interior photos, I'm not going to be too specific just because it is a public safety facility and I don't want to necessarily say where we are in the building, but so you can see some of the progress that's happened so far. You see they've got the subgrade or the dirt floors there as they're pouring concrete throughout the facility. On the bottom right there is bottom right, that is the Sally port for transport vehicles to come through. On the middle image there on the bottom, just another image of the rooftop that's on area C looking to the west, so on top of the sheriff's office. And then on the far left there, another photo actually within the detention center, so you can see kind of the progress from having dirt floors to fully poured concrete floors and how they've progressed so far. I think we've got one more set of photos. Another one showing the interior progress. I believe they're standing on the west end of the building there looking east. And then the next shot to the right, throughout the building, there's a mezzanine level to most of the housing for inmates. So that's a shot of that mezzanine area. Let's see. And then another shot of the mechanical penthouse. So that's where not all the mechanical equipment, but a lot of mechanical equipment will live up there. And on your bottom right, I don't have my bearings on. I think we're looking southeast roughly at the in area A, I believe. So you can see there's been a lot of progress, a lot of moving parts out there. But the snapshot, the takeaway, the headline, if you will, is we're tracking exactly where we thought we would. No project is without its, hiccups. So we've had our share of hiccups, but nothing that we haven't been able to solve relatively simply. It was a little quick. I apologize. Any questions for me though?
I think it's important to note that the delays are due to weather. That's not something that's, due to the folks actually doing the project, so.
Yeah, if they could be out there, they would, but when it's too windy and you can't swing the panels, it's more dangerous than it is worth being out there to do it.
All right, well, thank you there, Tyler, for a good overall update, and glad to hear everything's going just as planned. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. Have a nice day, everybody.
Yep, thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right. Ready to move on. Action. Number 7, action to withdraw a bid from Amanda Schleck for the tax deed property action held on July 7th. Should have been auction. Oh, not action. The tax deed property auction, yes. So looking for a motion with that.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Gable,
Second.
second by Johnson. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Number 8, discussion possible action to set the date for the tax deed property auction and appoint property appraisers. Pretty
Yes,
self-explanatory.
right. So the next date then to get the publications in will be July 30th, since we'll be moving that meeting due to the primary election runoff. And so we can canvass the votes on that day, which is further down on your agenda to do that. But July 30th or would be the date.
Okay,
That's a Thursday.
do we need them?
Yep. You need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
I'll
Motion by
second it.
Gable, second by Schwer. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Getting into monthly reports. First up, we got our community health nurse. Good morning.
Morning,
Cody.
Cody.
Okay, so overall monthly, this is for kind of the first half, for quarter 1 and quarter 2. Things continue to be pretty, consistent as far as like numbers, referrals for like our maternal and child health program and our pregnancy care program. The numbers, referrals stay pretty consistent, for what we receive monthly, kind of, right around that, anywhere from about 12 up to 15-ish range. We get referrals from, some from the WIC office. We get some directly from, the clinics with the program that they have. And then we also get some, straight from Medicaid as well. So those are kind of our three big areas that we get referrals from. We contact these referrals normally about 5 to 6 times. We normally contact them weekly. So the referrals accepted, those numbers change a little bit because that goes off of like the month that they actually accepted. So we could have received the referral last month, but they actually accepted it this month. So some of those numbers are, can fluctuate a little bit just depending upon, how many times it took us to contact them. We normally reach out by text message, we reach out by phone calls, we reach out by letters. So we kind of continue to contact any way that we possibly can to get a hold of them. We've seen a little bit of increase in some postpartum depression symptoms in our office. So my other nurse and I have kind of decided that we're just going to start contacting our moms a little bit more frequently to follow up with additional phone calls that will kind of meet between their visits with us and then their visits with their physicians as well, just to kind of check in and make sure things are going good with them. Immunizations, we completed all our school audits. Those were finalized as of January 1st. We audited a total of 8 school districts within Codington County and totaled about 820 students is what we audited for. The flu season has come to an end. Immunization rates have dropped since Q4 of 2025, which is pretty typical for this time of the year. Just because immunization auditing season, is done, so that school rush is kind of over, flu season slowing down. But we already have planned, vaccines ordering and also all of our clinics for the 2026-2027 school year and flu season, so we're already kind of working on some of that stuff. School health stuff, Waverly and Florence, started their teen outreach program for their selected grades in January. Florence finished in March and Waverly finished in April. We completed the school worksheets for 2026-2027. Those have all been submitted. We're gonna continue with the 5 schools that we, were contracted with last year. So that's St. Martin's, Great Plains, Waverly, Florence, and Henry. And we normally bring these services in the fall. So we'll start scheduling some of those probably in the next couple of months. I continue to attend the LEPC meetings that occur quarterly. I did the kid care babysitting class that was in partnership with the SDSU Extension Building. I did nutrition on youngsters, so we talked about like the food guide, formula, preparation, storage and handling of bottles, choking hazards. We did a hand washing activity, a meal prepping game, and then we ended with a snack. We partnered with WIC and Bright Start and attended the 2nd annual Splash in the Summer event that was held by Codington Connects. We did a couple different games and handed out prizes for that. I joined Sarah Faust on the Northeast Radio at the end of June and talked about the transfer of the BPI building to Codington Connects and the importance, and excited that we are to have that shared location for the community. A little update for personnel, Lindsay, who was the WIC senior secretary, she resigned from her position probably about a month ago, I would say. WIC staff are just gonna be continuing to take on her duties, so they're, at this point, to my knowledge, are not hiring that back. We continue to make our temporary space, as feasible as possible. We haven't really noticed any like decrease in clients being able to have trouble finding us or lack of appointments. Continued services are as usual. WIC staff and public health staff are just kind of continuing to rotate that. So there's normally at least one person there for WIC and one person there for public health every day. So haven't seen much of a change with any of that.
Well, it sounds good.
Yeah. Got me to do my budget. Or you want me-
Just before you do your budget,
Yeah.
just I want to say hats off to you, Cody, and your staff for putting up with not knowing where you're going to be tomorrow or the next day. And I just really appreciate the fact that you're able to adjust and continue doing your job.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. It hasn't been bad. We've really gotten to know each other in our post-quarter.
Yeah.
We're excited for a new place, but we're making it where we're at, so.
You said it hasn't been bad, but it probably hasn't been real good either.
It hasn't been bad.
Well, unfortunately, it's been a little bit longer than what was planned for, but we'll work through it and that's good.
Yeah, yeah,
So, all right. So yeah, if you want to go over your budget.
yeah. County nurse wage for my clerical Sarah, that was just figured with the step increase. I figured 3% with the cost of living and then her longevity bonus. 412 through 415 just were figured out the calculations that were provided from Brenda. Down to 424, then rent. I just figured that off of the previous rent that we've been going off of, like before that increase had happened. It's kind of hard to tell at this point in time, but that's kind of the numbers that I just based that off of. I don't see any big increase of needing any of that. Nurse repairs and maintenance, I left that as same as what it was for last year. Just for any possible small repairs or things that are needed from the move with stuff being stored in the pod and kind of jumbled around with anything like that. Our county nurse supplies budget, we use that for a lot of like marketing events. So some activities that we use for the Splash in the Summer. We go to like Head Start's open house. August is National Breastfeeding Month, so we make some breastfeeding baskets and give those away. Office needs, we give like stickers and suckers out when we go to our immunization clinics. And then again, with any like possible things that may come along with the move. So I just kept that the same as it was for last year. Nurse travel and conference, this would be anything potentially for Sarah, my clerical, to help with immunization clinics. If we have any potential travel or anything like that that comes up, I just left that in there for that. I decreased line 429, the other current expenses. Due to a little bit of postage change, I had Brenda run some numbers for the last previous years. Public health does not use the outgoing postage here through the courthouse. We just order stamps straight through the state now. WIC is still using this, but obviously that is in a different budget. So I decreased that down a little bit due to that lack of not needing like that budget for the postage anymore. So not a whole ton of changes, but that's overall kind of where those were figured from.
Okay,
All right, looks pretty good.
Perfect.
thank you.
All right, thank you.
Next up, we have the auditor for a monthly report.
Good morning, everyone. So the office is busy with the runoff primary election taking place, and numbers are, as of yesterday, we have had 478 individuals vote. Yesterday alone, there was 45, so it's starting to increase as far as individuals voting. And we've also had quite a number of individuals changing their parties, so that we were busy doing that. But the deadline was yesterday at 5 o'clock, so now there will not be any changes that are able to be made until after the election. So also continue to work on the 2027 provisional budget. And that's kind of where we're at, just getting ready now for the election coming up and all the details that go along with that, along with work as usual.
All right. Not seeing any questions, so I'll go ahead and go over your budget.
Sure. All right, so you can see on the top that with the salaries, I did a 3% increase, and then also included the step that is in there for next July. And then all the other taxes that go with that. Health insurance, I did a 10% increase, which ended up being about the same as last year due to difference in salaries and that sort of thing. And dental insurance, the same. When you get down to the bottom, I didn't have any change in the professional services. I did increase the repairs and maintenance by $500. Supplies, I decreased that by 2,000. Travel, I decreased that by 2,000. Utilities, I decreased that by 500. I left that the same. So overall, my budget is a decrease of $27,434 from last year. And we can do the election one as well. Which it's kind of hard to tell. Hopefully there's no elections that fall in. I decreased the insurance amount according to what has been taken out previously. Programming, I put 1,000 in there. Publishing, I left 1,000. Same thing with polling places. Repairs and maintenance, I put that at 8,000. Election supplies, 6. So as you get on down, you can see the total budget is 32,900, which is a decrease from this year, but there's no elections, so those are my budgets. If anyone has any questions.
All right. Not seeing any so we'll move on to the next one, which is the Community Services Director. Good morning, Sarah.
Morning, Sarah.
Good morning. Oh, did you shoot? No.
You said it a while ago. I got it.
Sorry.
Got it.
It's okay.
I can.
Just talking. Unique individuals, June was down a little bit as far as number of clients, but it was actually up for total client contacts. You can see on the chart, 41 individuals that we served, 58 different services, but actually 110 contacts. That really reflects the number of homeless people we saw in the month, and it just goes to show that The intensity makes all the difference. The intensity of me makes a huge difference on how much time our staff spend with people. I forgot. I wanted to start by introducing our new staff that started July 1st. So we have Tiffany Bartel and Cassidy Beaverdorf, our new staff. They both started July 1st, and I just wanted them to come and see how the commission runs and.
Welcome aboard.
Yes,
So they're, yeah.
welcome.
Year-to-date costs, are, again, funeral assistance is the highest cost, $9,000 for so far this year. That's halfway through, so that's actually maybe a little bit lower than what we have been in the past. However, we did have multiple funerals last month. In the services, you'll see that inactive, we're redoing, trying to be more specific on where staff is spending time, and so they'll no longer be under just general case management or care coordination. It'll be under the specific services they provide. So that will look different going forward. And we'll change that.
Mr. Chair, just, why does it say inactive?
Because those they won't be able to bill or to like
Okay,
designate those times anymore. It'll have to be specific, like, are they working on housing? Or are they working?
okay,
Versus,
okay.
so it'll be more specific than just a general
Okay,
case management.
all right. Got it.
So, but we'll still keep them there because that's where it has been. So, yeah. Confusing. We just wanted to be more accurate on where things are actually being spent. Services where the receiving are the most, is food assistance, actually no, housing assistance, sorry, those lines are really small. Majority of time is spent of help assisting people with housing, 21 not past last month with housing support. And a majority of our people are ages 30 to 39, that's 45 total, but there's a good spread between 16 all the way up to over 80 that we help with, any other ages that we help with. And yeah, it has some race and gender, mostly female, but there's a good percentage of male, 40%, 41%. Right, so yeah. So, any questions on any of that? Okay. So our regular report, Medicaid reimbursement was down a little bit last month. It was $341.50 billed in June. We're running into some issues with getting care plans from doctors, which is the requirement that we need for that. So we're working on troubleshooting that issue. Total, so far this year, we've billed $11,064 to Medicaid. That's been our Medicaid reimbursement. The Department of Health CHW grant reimbursement was for June was $1,437. That again just restarted in June. We have $40,000 that we can bill the grant for June through May of next year. And then I also wanted to just mention the COSIP drawdown, which is the grant that covers Angie's position as well as several other resources that are billed out of our office. The drawdown, which was from April to June, was $80,000, $490. That's the Department of Justice grant that we have through that. And that funds, because it's not budgeted, it is able to be supplemented into our budget. The Medicaid reimbursement and the grant reimbursement are not able to be supplemented back into our budget. So those go into general, right? Right.
Mr. Chair, just on the CHW grant, is that covering anything besides the salary for the community health worker, or?
It covers the salary and it can cover supplies. So we were able to buy a bunch of the books that the CHWs use. And it will also cover travel.
Okay,
and
just related to
contracts.
that position, okay,
Yeah, well,
Okay.
yeah, it's position specific, but those.
yeah, okay.
As I mentioned, Cassidy and Tiffany both started on July 1st. We had a good couple of days there. Cassidy's done a great job. She started seeing clients and is helping develop some of the programming that we wanted to do for a lot of years, like young, basically adult living skills type of thing, young adult type things, how you just life skills type things. So they're working on developing some of that programming. Tiffany is doing a great job. She's already met with some attorneys and really is going like full bore and developing the program for defense attorney support. She plans to present in 3 to 4 months when she's had time to really develop the program and come back and share with you what you want. If there's anything that you got, any direction that you guys want, please let her know. for that, since it is a new position. She's very open to any suggestions. We did change our office hours. We had historically said that we saw clients from 9 to 4, but that hasn't actually been accurate for probably a couple years now. So we officially took those times off of our door. We're always there 8 to 5. And if people walk through our door anytime, we don't want them to not walk through our door when we're there. So we're seeing clients at today. Yeah. Just change signage to reflect what we're actually doing. For the systems of care, the big news is that we received the building, so that we can now officially talk about that. We're very excited for that, Codington Connects to own that building and to take that. We're still working with renovation. Catalyst is starting, working with a asbestos remediation contractor to get them in there. That will be the first step, and then once that there's some asbestos in the flooring, like a couple layers down, and it's best just to remove it now in case we need to do any floor work in the future. And in some of the ceiling tiles, so it's not extensive, but it needs to be removed before we can really move forward with anything else. Once we do that, then we'll have a better idea of where all of the rest of the timeline with that. Also working on financing, so we're working with the bank on the financing for that, so that's continuing to move forward, which will go well. The interagency meeting met last Thursday. The topic was employment supports. For childcare, we're meeting this afternoon to begin action planning priorities. They have identified some priorities, so that's great. And then we are continuing to promote the summer family activities, to promote free things for families to do. Before I finish, I wanted to say one more thank you. I was able to say this at the event that we had, but I just want to really thank you guys as commissioners for all of your support over the last years that I've been here. It has made a huge difference to our community, and just your investment in believing that by us working together with other organizations, that our community is stronger. Your support really makes a difference. So thank you for that. So as always, check out CodingtonConnects.com for more events and information.
Thanks.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. All right. Want to move on and cover your budget?
Okay. All of my increases are salary related. Again, our effort is to make the Medicaid and grants offset any expenses we have in those. So our salary increases, I also did the 3% increase like most of the other department heads, 10% insurance increases, and so that's reflected in those pieces. And that is also for the 2 community health workers, myself, and the office assistant position, so those 4 positions. Otherwise, most of it stayed, the other costs stayed the same. I did reduce rent because we anticipate rent will remain the same. Last year when we budgeted, we weren't sure what that was gonna look like. Now we have some more information, and we anticipate the rent will stay the same as what it currently is, if not less. So I budgeted our current amount for next year for rent. And did increase a little bit office repair just because there's some unknown with those pieces, so we added a little bit of cost with that. Otherwise kept most of the other regular expenses the same. A lot of those we don't use, like the medical and those, but we need to have them built in just in case we were to have a big expense. It is the state statute that we cover that expense. So I dropped the other expenses by $500 and then just kept everything with where it is. Burials remained at 45,000. We haven't reached that amount, but we came close a couple years with that. So that seems to be a pretty accurate amount. So those expenses dropped 3,000, but the total was $48,943. And again, that was all related to salaries and benefits. Any questions?
Guess I'm seeing none, so.
Would you do the public defender, do you want?
We can talk about that. We can, might be good to just to mention it. It's in the packet here, I think. Yeah, we can just mention. Yeah, I got your sheet here.
So what we did for the public defender is, one position at the current pay rate with the step increases, 3% increase, and then the step increase, so you can see that amount. Total salary and benefits amount is $109,068. And then the, extras that we put in were a little bit for office rent. We budgeted $150 a month for office for the public, for the case with public defender support. $2,000 in materials that she may need, and then $800 for travel and conference. Some utilities, that's cell phone cost, which is, we have a Verizon, it's like $20 a month for cell phone. And or $30 a month around there, and then other expenses at $1,000, so.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, can I just comment on that? So so are we thinking to just create this budget, of the public defender and then just, kind of do it this way? Okay.
So
Yeah.
what I've done is I've also built this into the court-appointed attorney for wages and salary and all that, so then we can track that for now, because that's where you said that's supposed to come
Yeah,
out of,
yeah.
correct?
Well, we could do it.
So,
We can do it one of two ways. So if we have this budget in here in the budget, then we just take this amount out, budget this much less than court appointed attorneys. Do it either way. I mean, it's fine with it.
it's, well, I mean, yeah, this is for next year's budget. I'd have to build one in then for this year, and that's not.
Oh, for this year.
I
Yeah,
can't.
that's right. That's right. Yeah.
So for this year, we're going to do it out of court-appointed attorney, so we don't have to do a budget supplement to
Mhm.
your budget.
Oh, okay,
So
okay,
it will track it in there.
okay.
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 Yep.
So just so people understand that we're not talking about, we don't have like lawyers and the public defenders. This is kind of the first step of, with Tiffany's role as an assistant to
Mhm.
the court appointed attorneys. So.
Yeah. Hey,
Thanks for putting that together.
yeah, I can keep that, thank you. Okay. Okay,
All right.
and then I do have a couple agenda.
Couple more agenda items.
Yeah.
It's like 11, discussion possible action for community service office to apply for CHW apprenticeship program.
Yes, so this is an opportunity that we have through the Department of Labor has these apprenticeship programs. We are eligible because Cassidy does not have her community health worker certificate. This is an opportunity for us to cover the cost of her certification as well as a few hours of her training. And so what this apprenticeship will cover is the course, which will be taken at Lake Area Tech. She'll do the CHW program this fall. And then in addition to covering that cost, it covers up to $5,000 of some of her salary as well as Paige's salary, who is training her. And so there's no match or anything like that. This is just we just need permission to apply to be able to do the apprenticeship program
So
to
move.
train her. Thank you.
Motion by Johnson,
Seconded.
second by Schwer. Any other
So
discussion?
this is it, just as only one page.
Yeah,
So-
well, this is the agreement. There's there's others that lay it out more, but this is the agreement page of it. And then if you guys approve it today, we'll send it in and then we'll have to do the next steps to fill out the paperwork. Yeah, but this is the contract agreement.
Seeing none, no other discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Okay, thank you.
Next item up is discussion possible action for community service office to apply for South Dakota Housing Development Authority Continuum of Care funding for transitional housing.
So this is what we applied for last November. However, this is funding through the HUD program, Housing and Urban Development, through the federal government that the South Dakota Housing receives. They are currently doing requests to develop transitional housing. In the fall, what happened is HUD sent out a request and then there were some lawsuits because due to the changes that they made, so they had to revert to their previous plan. Now they're resending out what they sent out in the fall, but they've done it with the right notifications. So South Dakota Housing is requests to develop new transitional housing programs in communities. This is a one-time opportunity. This funding will likely not become available again. It is to develop transitional housing, which we've identified in Watertown is a significant need. Transitional housing is housing for people up to 2 years, and so it really can help chronic people with chronic homelessness or mental health issues that have trouble maintaining housing have support for up to 2 years so that they can really be successful in being housed. Brenda and I are both on the board for Watertown Cares. We had some long discussions about Watertown Cares applying for it, and they decided that now they're not able to apply for it. And so I am requesting that the county apply for this funding. This is an annual funding opportunity. With the way the funding is being reconfigured, once we receive funding, it will be, you apply for it annually, but everybody that gets it gets renewed annually. So it is an annual renewal, but it's kind of an automatic annual renewal. Because of the way it's being reconfigured. I forgot to grab the amounts, but I believe it's like $4 million up for grabs right now across the state. We have some benefits being a rural community that gives us some other points for that as well. So essentially, if Watertown doesn't apply for this now, it will be really difficult to get funding for transitional housing in the future. So I'm requesting that the county apply for this. There is a 25% match, but that can also be in kind. I've had conversations with the monastery, and they have a property that we can rent from them. Because they provide the amazing services that we do. Some of the rent offset is that in kind, as well as my position supporting this would also be the in kind. So there's not a financial match that we would need to do. It would be through services and supports that we already would have built into this.
Move to approve.
Motion by Johnson,
Second that.
second by Schwer. Any other discussion?
So how would you actually spend the money?
So a majority of this would be on creating 2 positions. One would be a coordinator and one would be another community health worker, so that they could support the people living there. We would anticipate having up to 15 people at any given time that need support with housing. And they would need intensive case management. There's also I forget what the requirement is, but there's 20 hours of case management time that participants are required to fulfill. So that can be employment, community service, or different things, but they would also manage those things. So there are requirements of people that are living in the transitional housing that they would help manage as well. So it would be the rent for the facility and then 2 employees. I also budgeted in for a vehicle, and because we're a rural community, there's some other opportunities to help with hotels until we could get people in, and some different opportunities for things like that are also included in here, based off of the application I did last fall.
And you would anticipate how many clients?
15 at any given time, but it just depends on, like, that's not necessarily set in stone. I would say probably 15 to 20. Again, this reflects the high intensity that we talked about with our earlier, that people that have been chronically homeless just have a lot of intense needs. So the amount that I applied for last fall, and it would be similar, was just above 350,000. And so that's probably an annual budget that we would apply for through South Dakota Housing. What the program would look like would be dependent on what we would actually receive. We wouldn't probably receive that full amount. And so how the program is developed would depend on the amount actually awarded. They did score us last fall, and we scored very high. And talking to the staff at South Dakota Housing, if the initial plan had stuck, we would have received funding.
Okay.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you very
Sarah.
much. Okay.
Jump back to item 10, review of 2027 budget request.
That's all for today.
Oh, that's it?
In case she would have been 2 times.
Oh,
That's all for today.
all right. Then we'll go on down to 13, discussion possible action to accept a quote to install motion light sensors at the Memorial Park as budgeted.
Yeah, this is I end up turning around and noticed last year and so that when I was at the park, I noticed that there was no light switches for any of the in bathrooms in there. You turn the power on at the beginning of the year in April and you turn the power off in October and the lights are on 24/7. I did some questioning and asking and so that, and Ingolstadt had did a bunch of electric way back in the day, and they thought, why isn't there no light switches or sensors and so that? And they said, well, they didn't want to put them in there then because they felt that the lights should stay on all the time. So what I did is I budgeted for having motion sensors in there to make it so the lights don't need to be on all night, or in fact, there's some portions of the park that don't hardly ever get utilized all week long except for weekends. So this is what I budgeted for, or I budgeted for this, and the estimate quote is $2,750.
Motion by Gable, second by Johnson. Any other discussion?
I'm sure it'll save that much in electricity.
I'm hoping, I think it probably will in time, so. All right, thank you. What do you think?
Any other, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thanks, sir. Action to approve auditor's account with treasurer and note the monthly register of deeds.
You have that information before you showing the amount at the last day of June 2026, 49,149,986.04. The amounts that goes for custodial, the schools, townships, cities, and towns are also listed on the bottom of that one page under the general ledger. So those are the amounts that get distributed to those entities. And the monthly register of deeds amount for June is $41,324 $324.55.
All right. See a motion for that?
So move.
Motion by Johnson, second by Gable. Any other discussion? See none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Action to reschedule the July 28th Board of Commissioners meeting to June 30th due to the runoff election.
This is also so we can canvass the votes on that day from the runoff election.
July 30th.
June, yeah, July 30th, my bad, July 30.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Motion by Gable, second by Schwer, and that is to move the Tuesday meeting to Thursday following the election so we can canvass the votes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I move the 28th to the 30th, right?
Correct, 28th. Those opposed, nay. Seeing none, motion carries. Action to approve abatement application.
None today.
None today. Action to approve claims for payment.
Have that packet in your, all the claims in your packet, I should say. I did note on there, we had an addition of some claims that came in after this was processed in the amount of $7,761.25, which then brought the total to $2,877,932.51. But then last week, Tegra was approved and another claim. So then we minus that amount off. And also the state pass-through amount of $711,483.72, which leaves the total actual county claims at $660,394.07 for this go round.
Move to approve.
Motion by Johnson,
Second it.
second by Schwer. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries.
No budget
Bills paid.
supplements.
No budget supplements. All right, action to approve personnel change.
We have one annual step that needs to be approved for Jan Steele, and you have that information in front of you.
All right. Motion for that.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Gable,
Jan?
Second it.
second by Schwer. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I,
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Travel requests,
None today.
none today. All right, public notices, possible quorum of commissioners could be in attendance at.
Let's see.
Not seeing anything on my calendar. All right, moving on to old business.
Mr. Chair,
Step.
just a reminder, so we had the first reading of ordinance 83, which is the sales tax. To offset property tax, to lower property tax. So next week we'll probably, just so that people understand that next week we'll probably do the second reading and possible adoption. So just to give that for people to keep in mind. And then we're publishing the ordinance in the paper. You'll want to take a look at the specifics or contact me or somebody, one of us about that. So.
Okay. Any other old business? Seeing none, moving on to new business.
I might add, I'll probably add this onto my report, but I'm happy to report. There was some funding that became available through the legislature for the election budget, which I did apply for the grant for the amount that we were allowed, and we were granted that amount, and it's in the amount of $35,217.13.
Good, thank you.
wow,
Good
that's
deal.
super.
Best news we've received this morning.
That's good news, yeah. That's real good news.
Well, maybe there's more new business we want to hear. All right, moving on to open. Any public comments? Seeing none. Any commissioner comments?
Mr. Chair, I have one, I attended that STIP meeting, and that's the meeting that, we meet with the South Dakota Department of Transportation, and they review what roads and what work is gonna be done in the next, year, 5 years out. And, I had a chance to visit with them, and there was probably 3 or 4 from the South Dakota Department of Transportation there in reference if they had reviewed or done any looking at the intersection out there to the new jail or the approach in and out. And they said they have done nothing. I've been out there now, like I said, almost every day I go out there. And I said, well, I think it should be looked at because there should be a yield sign or some caution sign or something out there, because if you're going to go east, if you come out of there, you have to cross the 2 lanes that are westbound in order to get to the eastbound lanes. Now, I'm sorry, I didn't really, I should have said, set a time, somehow a follow-up to find out if they, but he said they're not real excited about doing that because they just got stung pretty hard on the lights that they put out by the Redland Center on 212, on East 212. You know, there's regular stop and go lights out there, and they are taking them out now because there just wasn't enough traffic out there to warrant them. And so he said, we're kind of cautious about doing those kinds of projects, you know. So we probably need to follow up, and I don't know, I'm the one that talked to him first. Lee, do you wanna?
Yeah,
look at
just,
that, or-
so just so people know, we did get permits from the DOT for the approaches there's 2 possible, we're using one of them right now.
Yep.
So,
Mhm.
but I would think they probably want to wait and see what the traffic is like, you know,
Mhm.
once once the facility's in use. So,
And
yeah,
that's
that's
kind
something.
of what he did to indicate that they said, well, we shouldn't really have a very high traffic count there. And I said, well, that's what we're hoping for.
Yeah, yeah.
But they said, we never know, and we should be planning and, you know.
Well, good to put on the to-do list, you know, basically when it opens up, so we don't forget about.
Yeah.
So,
So the plan is before it's all done to get the other approach put in and,
No, that's there if we need it in the future. That's there. So, but that would be a shared approach with the business to
Yeah.
the east. So, you know, if we can, if it works to keep it separately, and originally we thought that was gonna be the main approach, the one with sharing the, you know, with the seed company to the east, but, it worked out better this way for now, especially with the construction going on. So we'll see how it works as a permanent, is, you know, using that current approach to the west as the main approach. So, and there was already easements and everything around it, so.
The only thing that I've noted, and like I said, I go out there almost every day. Like if I'm turning into the job site where the jail is being built, I noticed that there's a lot of traffic and it's moving pretty fast heading west. And there should, if there was a turn lane, you
Yeah.
know, that would really help the traffic that's going west and
Yeah.
I've never had any trouble getting across. You know, getting to go east, you know, that I guess the traffic isn't quite that bad going in to town, but just an
So we
update.
need to keep it in mind, definitely, so.
That's it.
okay? Any other comments? All right, seeing none, we do have a need to go into executive session for, number one, discussion of personnel issues. Is that correct?
Okay, move to go into exec session.
Motion by
Second it.
Johnson, second by Schreier. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. We are in executive session.